This is Radio Taiwan International. Welcome to the news on Radio Taiwan International. I'm Michelle Chang coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan. We begin with a look at today's top stories for Friday, October 3rd. The president praises the Taiwanese people's compassion and solidarity. The U.S. Congress's Porcupine Act will be up for review on October 22nd. And Taiwan and South Korea look toward cooperation in AI and semiconductors. But first, today's top story. President Lai Ching-te praised the Taiwanese people for compassionate solidarity in the disaster relief efforts following the Matai'an overflow disaster. He expressed his confidence that, with everyone's concerted efforts, Taiwan will overcome these difficult times. The president traveled to Pingdong's Zhezhong Temple on Friday, where he spoke, burned incense, and prayed for Taiwan's peace and prosperity. While there, he also praised the temple for its donations and efforts in assisting local typhoon and earthquake recoveries. Lai noted that any time Taiwan has faced difficulties such as typhoons, earthquakes, or international challenges, it was able to overcome them thanks to the Taiwanese people's courage and strength. He pointed to the high number of volunteers from all around Taiwan who have come to Hualien's aid in recent weeks, saying he admired their efforts. The president also issued a special thanks to the Pingdong County Fire Bureau's Special Search and Rescue Team, which recently made headlines for successfully rescuing 6-year-old Xiao Yi. Lai expressed his sincere gratitude for the people of Taiwan's compassion, emphasizing a shared spirit of solidarity, mutual assistance, and care, which has even earned international praise. He urged the public to keep faith in Taiwan's future, saying that, with unity, Taiwan will once again overcome these challenges. The United States Senate Committee on Foreign Relations will review a series of bills by October 22nd, 3 of which involve Taiwan. They include the Porcupine Act, which would streamline the process for arms sales to Taiwan. The Porcupine Act would include Taiwan on a list of recipient countries with shorter congressional notification timelines for arms sales and higher monetary threshold values. This would allow Taiwan to enjoy the same benefits as NATO member states, Japan, Australia, South Korea, and other U.S. allies and partners, or NATO+. For NATO Plus member countries, the president is required to formally notify Congress 15 days in advance if the value of major defense equipment exceeds $25 million. At present, arms sales to Taiwan require not only earlier notification to Congress, but also a lower threshold for notification. The act also authorizes the Secretary of State to establish a swift decision-making process for the transfer of U.S.-made military equipment and services to Taiwan as a member of NATO+. Republican Senator Pete Ricketts first sponsored the act in June alongside Democratic Senator Chris Coons. Also up for review is the Taiwan International Solidarity Act, which requires the U.S. to oppose any attempt by China to distort the decisions, language, policies, or procedures of any organization to resolve Taiwan's status. Finally, the U.S.-Taiwan Partnership in the Americas Act will be reviewed on October 2nd as well, which supports Latin American and Caribbean countries that maintain diplomatic relations with Taiwan. The Taipei Economic and Cultural Office, or TECO, in Busan held a National Day reception this Thursday, inviting hundreds of South Korean politicians, overseas Taiwanese, and other guests. At the event, TECO Director Guo Chen-kai spoke about the fruitful results that Taiwan has received in diplomacy and trade during the past year. He also emphasized Taiwan's 10 major AI infrastructure projects initiative, which will see 100 billion NT dollars or $3.3 billion US dollars invested in the cultivation of AI talents, and how the initiative demonstrates the country's commitment to growing the AI industry. Bilateral trade between Taiwan and South Korea reached a record high of 64 billion US dollars in 2024, Guo said, making South Korea Taiwan's fourth largest trading partner and source of imports. Total trade from January to August 2025 saw a 45% increase compared to the same period last year. Guo emphasized that Taiwan and South Korea already had a fruitful relationship in the global semiconductor supply chain, to which the rise of AI has added further momentum. In addition, the countries have become each other's third largest source of tourists, with 2.43 million mutual visits between them. The Foreign Ministry acknowledged on Friday the strong support from allies, like-minded countries, and friends from various nations for Taiwan's participation in the UN system. The ministry also noted that Taiwan's allies have submitted another joint letter this year, which was received by a high-level UN official, demonstrating that the UN has taken Taiwan seriously. Following the conclusion of the 80th session of the UN General Assembly on September 29th, the Foreign Ministry stated that Paraguay, the Marshall Islands, Eswatini, Palau, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Belize, Tuvalu, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and Guatemala all spoke out in support of Taiwan either through statements or letters. Czech Republic President Petr Pavel emphasized the importance of peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait for the second consecutive year during the UN General Assembly debate. The joint statement following the U.S.-Japan ROK foreign ministers meeting and the Australia-UK ministerial consultations also reiterated their support for Taiwan's meaningful participation in international organizations. Irish Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Simon Harris, Swedish Minister of Infrastructure Andreas Carlsson, and the EU's External Action Service publicly expressed their support for Taiwan's efforts to participate in international organizations in response to parliamentary inquiries or media questions. The Foreign Ministry reported that 349 articles by Minister Lin Jialong, op-eds, and news reports from Taiwan's overseas offices were published in 48 countries. The ministry urged the United Nations to stop yielding to Chinese pressure and to promptly allow Taiwan's full participation, in accordance to the UN's Leave No One Behind principle and the principle of universality, so that all people worldwide can benefit from Taiwan's successful development and democratic experience and jointly create a better future. Nature's ruthlessness is shown in dramatic landscape changes after the Ma-Tai-an River dam break, according to the Agriculture Ministry's newly released LiDAR scanning technology. The Agriculture Ministry released its airborne LiDAR scanning technology results last week, comparing the topographic data for the Ma-Tai-an River dam break pre- and post-disaster. The results revealed significant terrain changes from the upstream mountainous area to the downstream riverbed. LiDAR, light detection and ranging, is a remote sensing method that uses pulsed lasers to measure distances, creating high-resolution 3D models of the environment. The once vast emerald green lake has shrunk to a small pond after the massive overflow. The blue-purple area upstream of Ma-Tai-an represents the deepest subsidence caused by the landslide, while the orange-red area shows the accumulation of debris. The yellow area downstream of Ma-Tai-an shows the debris carried downstream by the floodwaters. Aerial and Remote Survey Director Huang Junxiu says that in some areas around the dam break lake, the landslide depth reached 403 meters. He details that a large amount of sediment remains in the riverbed, which is also constantly moving. Therefore, continuous monitoring is necessary to develop appropriate management and mitigation strategies. The data was immediately sent to the National Science and Technology Center for Disaster Reduction and other relevant agencies. More detailed analyses will help with recovery and restoration efforts and, most importantly, prevent future disasters by taking proactive measures and respecting the power of nature. Michelle Chang for RTI News. Both Miaoli and Zhanghua are famous for their local delicacies, and now visitors and locals can try them in one meal, as both cities offer a selection of favorites at their own specialty banquets.
Shredded ginger, chili peppers, and carrots sautéed until fragrant. It's not only a recipe for mouth-watering, but also the base for Miaoli's innovative Hakka-style stir-fried noodles. The new specialty is served alongside braised pork and bamboo shoots, just two of the dishes in Miaoli's new dinner special. Diners report the dishes as perfectly paired and flavorful. This is the site of Miaoli's Hakka 4-braised dish for stir-fry dinner, for which the county will be selling 140 tables online for 4,500 NT dollars, about $148 each, or about 450 NT, nearly $15 per person. The 10-dish special includes many Miaoli signature dishes like poached chicken, glutinous rice, Hakka stir-fries, sesame oil shrimp, and pineapple and wood ear mushrooms, among others. Mayor Yu Wenzong says the dishes were designed through discussions with 6 head chefs, transforming classic dishes with the addition of bright new elements. Miaoli isn't alone in offering delicacy dinners to attract tourists. In Zhanghua, the Lu Shi banquet, offering well-loved classics like spring rolls, oyster omelets, and vermicelli soup, has been a hot-selling experience since its launch. Many of the dishes featured often garner long wait times at food stalls, so half of the draw is being able to taste them all without waiting. Both local banquets are priced equally, 4,500 NT per table, and offer a similar experience, the biggest difference being what specialties you want and how much you'd like. 10 dishes in Miaoli or 19 in Zhanghua. For about 450 NT a head, either meal deal is sure to be a feast for gastro-tourists and foodies of all localities. Amanda Stevens for RTI News.
Thanks for joining me for the news. I'm Michelle Chang. Stay tuned for another 50 minutes of English language features brought to you by Radio Taiwan International.
Catch the latest RTI news, programs, previews, and more on our website, rti.org.tw. That's rti.org.tw.